Hi guys, today is the 1st of September 2020. It's 57 minutes past 4 in the afternoon over here in the UK, and I'm just making this quick video. Potential watch on Donald Trump today in Kenosha and potential events happening at the same time as he's there, not necessarily with him per se, but I'll explain as I go through the video. So we had Hurricane Laura that came around the 27th of August, and it struck around Texas, Louisiana, and took out the power there. Nothing really too serious, thankfully. I think there was a few lives lost and some property damage, but nothing near as bad as what I was expecting it to be or the news was expecting it to be. So I'm thankful for that. However, in this video, we have a clear direction of bad events happening in connection with some sort of 9/11 event, and the 9/11 event is sort of like a false flag reference, as in the United States government attacked itself in order for it to, in order to give it a reason to go into Iraq with the pretense of weapons of mass destruction, which we all know now there never was, and we were never shown evidence of. So, what's the second 9/11 event? Many different events are on the cards and on the table for this potential series of things, but I think that we have a strong connection to a tsunami flood-like event. It's displayed all throughout this video. So, where we have the goat child, which is a kid in a box in a sort of cage, we reference Texas, and we've got the border just there, electric fences, emergency lighting, all of that going on. And then you've got the goat when it spins its head round. It's not just a sign of hypnotism. There's also the reference to the number three as the goat's head splits into three. I think I'll just show you that now. So you can see just there. There's one very there we go. There's one very light one there, medium, and that's the original one. So it splits into three and goes around and stops. And we referenced that as a hurricane. So if that was talking about Hurricane Laura, then there's that potential. Then we have this stick man figure here holding a gun, wearing a hat that we reference as a MAGA hat, as that's the hat that's been in the news the most over the last couple of years. And you've got the dog reference, and it just speaks of vigilantism and self-policing, self-control, and that seems to be taking place in Kenosha at the moment. So those events kind of followed simultaneously, one after the other: Hurricane Laura, and then the shooting of Jacob Blake, which has led to all this unrest in Wisconsin. And I'm mindful that as we go through the video, we may see other events that are connected to the real world taking place. Now, as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm looking out for events with Donald Trump, but not necessarily today. Perhaps, excuse me, perhaps if anything happens today, then we may see something happen after that. And on the eyebrow here, I've interpreted this in many different ways, but one of the ways I'm interpreting, three of the ways, sorry, I'm interpreting it today is involving this backwards shape here being the number 7, and that 7 being a reference to September on the Roman calendar, and then this figure here being either the number 2 or the number 5. And when I put them together, I'm thinking September 2nd, September 5th, or September 25th. So with those 3 dates in mind, I'm keeping an eye out for an event with Donald Trump. That could involve a shooting, it could involve coronavirus. We have the darkened eyes here on the Bush character, which also represents Donald Trump. But we could also be looking at a heart attack or a brain event of some kind, like a stroke. Donald Trump was rushed to Walter Reed last year. It's reoccurred in the news again with the release of Michael Schmidt's book and the news that the Vice President Mike Pence was put on alert to take over the presidency. Just sorry for the interruption. So yes, Mike Pence was put on alert to take over the presidency in case Donald Trump had to go under anesthesia, and things like that. In my mind, taken into consideration the imbalances and things that we've seen with Donald Trump, it's possible that he may be suffering from uh, the narrowing of his arteries due to his very very unhealthy diet at McDonald's all the time. Clearly, he's got a history of heart disease, that's well known. So the likelihood is that he's, at least this is what the news will say. I don't know if it's actually true, but the likelihood is that he's got some sort of narrowing of his arteries, and it could lead, in severe cases, to fainting, stroke, that kind of thing. So um, it's possible. It may not happen in the time frame that I'm saying, but it's possible that that's what could happen. In public, maybe while he's on stage or something like that, and he falls over and collapses. Of course, without the medical side of things, there's the other more nefarious side, which is some sort of purposeful event like a shooting, or something like that. Again, still with the coronavirus reference, he could catch that and it could have an effect on whatever pre-existing conditions he has, and that may be the reason why he then collapses. But that whole theory there is to one side. Today Donald Trump is going to be visiting Mary D. Bradford High School, and I always pay attention when Donald Trump visits schools. He doesn't do it very often, but we know that this iPad Go 2 video references the first 9/11 attacks, where George Bush was in Emmett E. Booker Primary School in Florida, and that's when the 9/11 attacks happened. So I'm always very alert when I see Donald Trump going to a school, for the potential that another 9/11 event could happen in a similar scenario, of him being in a school, and or the president being in a school and something then taking place. Um, he's going to be there according to his calendar at 2:10, which is a possible time reference in this video. I've often looked at these um, images here that are, buildings, as a date reference, but it's possible it could be a time reference. We've got the 2 and we've got the 10 just there. So perhaps while he's in the school, there could be a reference to a tsunami style event. Now you see in the foreground here, I believe this is referencing buildings that, um, sorry, I believe it's referencing buildings that resemble buildings that are in Europe. So the Big Ben, the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, um, Italy, France, and the UK. And then in the background, in the shadow, I believe this is a separate tsunami, but for places like New York with big skyscrapers, possibly California, as well on the Pacific side of things. That again may be referenced here in the Apple with the 2 and the 10 reference that we've got here. Again, same places potentially referenced with New York, Hawaii being on the Pacific side of things. That's because, next to Obama. The Italy reference with the volcano on the apple resembling the volcano on the island, which is next to Italy, which is shaped like a boot. And then you've got the pound coin down here referencing the UK. So again, you've got that kind of European reference. I don't really see France in there, but 4 out of the 5 seem to correlate with this scene and this scene. Um, Another thing that seems to correlate is the hurricane scenario, with the hurricane being over New York. This is the remnants, or yeah, I think it's remnants of Laura, Hurricane Laura. So Hurricane Laura came up through Texas to Louisiana, went through the Midlands, and has popped out over the East Coast, just close to New York. And of course, we have that New York hurricane reference just here in the video, where we see the Statue of Liberty, the body of water moving in, and that hurricane reference above, lights going out as well at the same time. So even though the remnants of Hurricane Laura are no longer a hurricane and actually a tropical storm, it's still referenced as a circular system, which is what we have going on in that scene just above New York as the body of water comes in. And so you see the water reference, 210, potential time reference, connection to New York with the skyscrapers. You see that water reference again with the potential time reference of 210, the Big Apple, again with the New York connection. And then you come here and uh, it's a potential, I haven't actually looked at it, but you could have a 2 o'clock reference here. If you imagine that we're looking at the screen vertically dead on, and the Statue of Liberty is the center of that screen, then if this was 6 o'clock down here, 3 o'clock would be here. So this would actually be 2 o'clock. And, if it was sort of representing the little hand and the big hand at the same time, that would be a 2:10 reference. And then you have, again, that connection to New York and the body of water moving in. In this scene here, this is the last thing I want to talk about in terms of correlation with today, as well as the remnants of Hurricane Laura, which is now a tropical storm over New York, being a potential connection to today, and a 2:10 reference to a tsunami or body of water inundating maybe Europe, Hawaii, California, or New York, or all of them. We also have a hurricane in this scene, and this scene is all about the Far East, as we believe, with either North Korea moving into South Korea, or China moving into Hong Kong, or China moving into Taiwan. It's a whole Far East reference, but that little hurricane reference that you get on the skeleton's chin could potentially be a reference to this typhoon over here, which is called Typhoon Maysak, and obviously it's there at the moment, quite big, quite powerful, and it's in that Far East region. South Korea's just here, North Korea's just here, China's over here, of course, and it will be making its way towards those countries over the next coming days. However, there is also another one which is going to be on the 5th, and I feel more strongly about the 5th because of the 5 fireworks, the 5 tanks, the potential for the number 5 being in that middle of the yin-yang symbol before it closes up. I'll just show you that. So the potential for the number 5 being there as well. And then again, if you're looking for that typhoon hurricane reference, it's there on the 5th, but this isn't Mayak or Mayak. This one, I don't think they've actually given it a name. It's just called 11W. It will eventually it's already got a name. If I went and did the research before I talked about it, I would be able to tell you the name. But if you go online, search for the typhoon names for the season of 2020, you'll be able to find it. The one that comes after Typhoon Mayak. So again, just like meteorologically, we have a connection to potential date reference and potential weather occurrences happening at the same time. And of course, if this is happening on the 5th and you've got that skeleton reference, then it brings me back to this point in the video where I'm looking at this as potentially September 5th and an event with Donald Trump. If that's the case, then maybe they're depicting the skeleton in the Far East scene as Donald Trump over here. And, if Donald Trump's out of the way, then maybe China decides, with all the chaos that will be taking place in the United States, that they'll push their advantage in, with Taiwan or with Hong Kong. Or maybe North Korea decides, with Donald Trump incapacitated and his fire and fury capabilities reduced because of the internal conflicts that the United States would be dealing with, that they can push their advantage with South Korea. There's a lot to watch out for. There's a lot of things already happening. There's a lot of potential event connections. But obviously, if today is, Donald Trump can be in a school at any time, but in Kenosha with the, vigilante protesters and the riots and everything that's going on there, it puts it more in stark reality that it could actually happen. And the water reed thing popping up again. So keep an eye out today around 2:10, between 2:10, 3. I don't always give specific time references, usually date references, but, where I see the president in a school at 2:10 and I see a potential 2:10 connection to tsunamis all over this video, then I say look out at 2:10 today for any potential tsunami event that could take place while Donald Trump is in the school in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And if that happens, then look out for any potential events happening around Donald Trump's health, whether that's coronavirus, heart attack, stroke, whatever, or a shooting. around September 5th, or even potentially September 2nd. As I said, this could be a 2 instead of that. And if that's the case, then maybe September 2nd, if this event happens, then 3 days later, we see the events in the Far East take place around September 5th. There's other date references. If these ones don't pan out, this is not me just moving the dates. It's just me trying to figure out if there are actually dates connected to events. Because if they happen, then you guys, that yeah, the video does have actual event date connections, which would make it a lot more serious. So, you guys, with that said, keep your eyes open. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.